Good morning and welcome back to the Breakfast Show 2. We're here with Sergeant Clark Parrott to talk all things back to school safety and what students and teachers and parents need to know when it comes to back to school time. Obviously, schools have already started, they're in session, but what's the most important thing for students and parents and teachers to know about being safe?
Well, first thing we encourage people, whenever you see the big yellow buses coming your direction, be patient, slow down. Don't ever pass a school bus that has its stop arm and stop signs out and the red lights are flashing. Some of the districts have new bus drivers. They're learning their route. You mix that in with construction in the areas and things like that, and kids running a little bit late to the school bus. So that's going to create an accordion effect. So we just encourage people, if you see the big buses, slow down, especially around school zones. A lot of them have flashing signs with a reduced speed. Pay attention to that. So we do a lot of education on the parents and drivers, but we also go into the schools and talk to the kindergarten and teachers and say, really encourage your kids to not open their backpack and on the bus. Because what happens is somebody will lose a piece of paper or something like that, then try to find it, or they get off and the wind will blow it. They try to chase their paper, and sadly we have had some incidents where it has not worked out very well. So we just encourage people, you see a school bus, just be aware that kids are going to be excited getting off of them and getting on them, and they may not be thinking about you and your car.
Yeah, and you had mentioned that once that the stop sign comes out and then they have that arm bar that comes out, is it illegal to pass that if you're the bus stops and all that comes out? Could you get in trouble if you pass it?
Absolutely, there is a statute because that is a stop sign. It's no different than an intersection where it's out there, and we deal with stop arm violations, what we call them, stop arm violations all the time. That stop arm comes out, and that's to keep the kids away from the front of the bus as they walk in front of it. But when those red signs come out on the side of the bus and they're displaying it, that is, in a sense, it is a moving stop sign. So by law, they have to stop while buses are either discharging or loading students.
And then you can't proceed until that red stop sign goes back in?
Yes.
Okay, that's good to know. I feel like sometimes people get confused on that. And then also, so say that, the bus is here and there's oncoming traffic this way. I guess it applies for both people behind the bus and on the side.
Yes.
There's no rules.
If it is not a divided highway, like the interstate or 60 highway, anything coming toward that bus has to stop. Now, if there's if there's more than 3 lanes, I don't believe that, like out on Kings Highway, that northbound would have to stop.
Right.
Because then that would be, but then at the same time, a lot of the bus companies don't stop on those busy highways and discharge their students. So again, we just encourage people, if they see the big yellow bus, slow down and just be aware.
And what about the kids we have a lot of people who live in more rural areas, but they still drive the bus, but maybe those kids have to walk further to get to their home. Are there any, safety advice that you have for the kids that may be walking 5 minutes just to get home from their bus stop? What's the best advice you have for kids that are, doing that?
Well, if possible, not to walk alone. Have a walking buddy with you. Just to and be aware of your surroundings. If something doesn't look right, you need to let somebody know. Let your bus driver know, your mom, your dad, or things like that. So that way we can try to keep those kids as safe as possible.
And speaking of being outside and being on the bus and all of that jazz, it's also been so extremely hot this week. Let's talk a little bit about hot weather and how that relates to staying safe. I know that sometimes life can get super hectic and people will be in and out of their car. They may have kids in the back seat. How important is it to make sure that you get everyone out of the car?
Well, and you cannot overstate that. Now many vehicles have a rear seat monitor or occupied or whatever like that. But part of it too would help if people would just put their phone down and not be so consumed with their devices that they forget that they've got a kid or a pet or an animal or something like that in the vehicle. But along those lines, as hot as it has been, you can't stress enough, drink enough water.
Yeah.
And drink water even when you don't think that you need it, because by the time that you get thirsty, it's too late
Yeah.
for that, especially if you're out mowing grass or things like that, in and out of your vehicle driving. So, make sure that you're taking care of yourself, take plenty of breaks, cool down, find a cool place to do that, whether it's your car or going to a restaurant or a mall or things like that.
Yeah, and it's such a busy month of August, starting back to school, that's an exciting time for kids, whether this is their first time going to school or if it's, their 7th time going to school. I guess before we head to break, what's the best piece of advice that you have for kids as, staying safe in the classrooms or whatever it may be?
Well, again, just patience. Because as you said, a lot of these kids are excited. We've got a lot of new drivers.
Yeah.
Kids that got their license at the end of last year, permits, and they went to an intermediate license over the summer. They're excited, and again, we encourage those new drivers to follow the intermediate driver's license as far as how many people you can have in your vehicle and things like that. So just understand that, the little ones are excited, but so are those 16-year-olds.
Yeah.
And it doesn't help if the general population, if we're on our phones, and that's when bad things happen. So we just encourage everybody to keep their devices down, be patient, and make sure that you're drinking plenty of water in these hot times.
Well, all such great advice from Sergeant Clark Parrott. We always appreciate you coming out and telling us a little bit of the important things that we need to know. All right, we'll be back in just a few minutes.